Yeah, good to see you too. I was out of town for 2 days, so I turned off my computer, and I never turn off my computer, and I came in here and I was like, "Oh, shit."
I literally just didn't get on my computer yesterday or Friday because we're doing so much setup stuff, and I went to go
Yeah.
turn it on and it had restarted itself. So I'm sitting here like trying to quickly get it to load, and it took me like 5 minutes just to get my computer on.
I know, I'm like, "Oh, shit, am I gonna be on in time?" Sometimes I'm late, but never when I have a guest. Is it okay to say never? My wife hates it when I do that.
Hey, I'm here for it, Savon. You can say whatever you want.
Thank you. You're not my wife.
I'm not your wife.
God. I want to show you something I saw this morning. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. This is from the big dog himself. Absolutely wild. Okay. Here we go. I think this was just this weekend or this past week in Senate hearings. Robert F. Kennedy, the Honorable. Here we go.
This morning, I got the latest numbers from CDC that 76.4% of Americans now have a chronic disease. This is stunning. When my uncle was president, it was 11%. 1950, it was 3%. Today, it's 76.4%. 8 out of 10 of our kids cannot qualify for military service. This is a national security issue. When my uncle was president, we spent zero on chronic disease. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion. It's the biggest cause. It's increasing. And all of the arguments that Republicans and Democrats have about single payer, Obamacare, or the various ways of allocate the health dollars, they're all like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC.
Time to go to a CrossFit gym.
Agreed.
It is nuts.
Yeah. I think the last stats I saw, it's somewhere around 25 or 30% of Americans have some form of physical disability.
And what does that look when you say some form of physical disability? What do you mean? Like can't see, their vision's fucked up, or their hands broken, or
yeah, like some kind of permanent disability. So it could be like trouble walking, it could be neuropathy, it could be it's a wide swath of like what it actually could be, but it means that 25 to 30% of Americans have something that's preventing them from being physically capable of 100% of things, or just have something that hinders them on a day-to-day basis.
I was at a jiu-jitsu tournament. It's interesting you say that. I was at a jiu-jitsu tournament this weekend, and I was it's a lot of fit people. It's similar to the CrossFit bubble. I'd say that there's probably a lot more steroids in jiu-jitsu, a lot of just giant dudes cruising around who are now living their dreams to their kids. But one of the judges on one of the courts, he looked like the whole weekend, he looked like he was just in severe chronic back pain. Like every step he took looked like, fucked up and labored. I was feeling horrible for him. I was like, oh, he must have all sorts of weird shit going on.
Well, and the scary thing is that we have, and I don't mean to attack all doctors. There's great doctors out there like McCoy and those guys. But a lot of doctors are like, oh, you have back pain, you have this pain. Just stop doing things. Stop moving. Mm-hmm. And that's the dumbest advice. I had an athlete come in who, he's an adaptive athlete, and he came in, he's like, yeah, my doctor told me not to lift anything. And I go, what does he mean not lift anything? He's like, well, outside of my like daily living activities, don't lift anything. I'm like, yeah, but what does that mean? Are you not supposed to press overhead? What plane are we pressing in? I'm like, you have to move. And telling you not to do anything besides your daily living activities is just going to increase your chance of getting hurt doing daily living activities. Like, give me some guidelines. Is it a certain weight? Is it a certain range of motion? Like, what's going on that we can't move? And let's move around it so we can keep you healthy. Because if we just sit there and have you do nothing but your daily living activities, eventually those daily living activities are going to get so hard you're going to hurt yourself worse.
I saw along those same lines. For me personally, I was hurting my back about 4 times a year. And then I started CrossFit, and I was only hurting my back 2 times a year. And before I was hurt, when I would hurt my back, I would hurt it like sneezing or wiping my ass, the most like ridiculous things. And then the 2 times a year that I heard it doing CrossFit, it was usually doing something stupid, like going for a PR when I know I shouldn't. And
Yeah.
then, somewhere in my like 40s, I just decided, hey, I'm going to use all the women's weights and then divide that by 2. And I stopped hurting my back pretty much altogether. I still have back pain in the morning, but like my pain completely went away. And
It's
just the injuries. I mean, it was so obvious.
It's really funny. So I played rugby in college. And I had a really bad separation of my right shoulder, like tore a bunch of muscles in my shoulder and pec and arm and whatnot. And I had a doctor tell me, he's like, hey, you're going to have surgery. And I go, I'm 19, 20 years old. I'm like, I'm not getting shoulder surgery. Like, what are my options? He's like, you can get the surgery and then your arm will never move above your shoulder height for the rest of your life, or you're going to have to live with pain for the rest of your life. And I go, I'm going to see if I can fix this without surgery. And that's right around the time I started CrossFit. Here I am, 40 years old now. So almost 20 years later, no surgery, no shoulder pain. They get tight and they get a little sticky sometimes, but I've never had to have surgery. My shoulders feel great. Like we've had so many wheelchair athletes come into my gym and, they're like, hey, I just want to get fit before I go for this shoulder surgery. And then we get them doing CrossFit. We get them moving well. Lo and behold, no surgery. And I'm not saying surgery is never the option, but I think, much like I think a lot of doctors prescribe drugs before they should, a lot of orthopedists and stuff like that prescribe surgery before it's necessary. It's
they know what they know.
Yeah. Well, and like we'll have people come in and they're like, oh, my doctor said I have a bulging disc. And I'm like, well, that like the majority of people over the age of 30 have some form of a bulging disc. A bulging disc doesn't mean that you're injured, and you can have symptoms from it, but we can mitigate those symptoms. Like a bulging disc isn't the end of the world and doesn't mean you stop moving. Everyone, like over 30, almost everyone has them. We just got to figure out how to get you out of pain and see what biomechanics are dysfunctional and fix those. And bulging disc, you'll be fine.
I saw a stat that the other day that 0.5% of the people who do CrossFit hurt themselves, and someone was like, that's completely insane. That's way too many. And then I'm thinking that number means nothing if you don't put it into the context of how many people injure themselves or get sick not moving at all, or doing other movements, or sitting at a desk. Like it's always, those numbers alone mean nothing if you don't put them relative to all the other things that can happen to you out there.
There's I worked a lot. I have a relationship with Craig Hospital, which is the spinal rehab hospital right next to my gym. And we have them bring patients over. It took me almost 3 years to get them to start sending patients to me. And when I first went in there after a year after I got hurt, I went in for like a yearly checkup, see how my spinal cord injury was doing. And they're sitting there like, oh, your blood markers are great. All your numbers are great. Your shoulders are healthy. You're one of the healthiest guys we've seen come in here. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing CrossFit. And they're like, oh, you got to stop that immediately. You're going to hurt yourself. And I just asked them a simple question. I go, okay, if you don't want me to do CrossFit, what do you suggest I do to stay in shape? And I could not believe my ears when the nurse and doctor sat there and told me that I should try downhill skiing. Have you ever tried skiing? And I came back to them and I go, hey, just so I can ask you a question, how many people do you guys have in this spinal cord hospital from skiing right now? They're like, oh, I don't know, like 10, 15. I'm like, how many people do you have in here from working out or doing CrossFit? They're like, well, you're the only one we've ever seen in here ever from lifting weights. And I go, so don't you think it's a little cognitive dissonance on your part to tell me to go downhill skiing opposed to doing CrossFit? I don't know. Skiing's weird to me. It's the greatest example of cognitive dissonance in the world to me, because it has one of the highest injury rates out of anything you could do, and no one bats an eye at it. But you say 0.5% of people who do CrossFit get injured, and people are like, oh, that's way too many. There's no way you should ever do it. It's super dangerous. And it's like, you don't say any of that about like rock climbing, mountain biking, skiing. Like,
hey,
even cheerleading has a higher rate of injury than CrossFit does.
I'll give you 2 great examples. The leading cause of a purchaser of prosthetics used to be motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not even close. Now we all know what it is. It's people who eat too much sugar.
Yeah.
And another great one is, unfortunately, years ago, she's fine now, but Greg's daughter had a traumatic head injury and they had to fly her to Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. Yeah.
And they basically told him, yeah, it's like a revolving door in here of snowboarders and skiers who crashing into trees or banging their head off of rocks. Yeah, it's wild.
I mean, we have a
Absolutely
lot
wild.
of spinal cord injuries at our gym just because of where we are, and obviously I'm also in a wheelchair. And there was a time when we had like 15 or 20 wheelchair athletes at the gym.
Wow.
10 to 15 of them from skiing and snowboarding.
Wow.
And then a few from horseback riding,
Mm.
and then the rest from like motor vehicle accidents.
What's the name of your gym?
CrossFit Watchtower.
That's right, I knew that. And what's the name of the city?
Inglewood, Colorado.
Do you get emails every day? Kevin, my son got in an accident. I'd like for him to talk to you, or Kevin, I got in an accident.
It's not every day, but I get them a lot. I get them a lot. I would say anything that comes through CrossFit for like disability stuff gets sent my way. Like if they email one of the other reps, or they email into game support or affiliate support, and they have questions about adaptive stuff, they always send them my way. I've had some nice talks with people from different countries. I had a great chat with a guy from Israel who's doing some really cool stuff over in Israel with people who are injured from not just what's going on currently, but previous
like veterans who get injured in war. Okay,
yeah. Well, and he's not only working with the veterans there, he's also started bringing in people who were hurt outside of military service, and he just has this really cool mixture of like military people and civilians who have gotten injured, lost limbs, have brain injuries, stuff like that from living in Israel, and he works with all of them, and it's really cool. So I get a lot of those emails. If it's a big accident, I'll probably get like 2 or 3 emails, especially if it's someone in like that is in the CrossFit space and gets hurt, ski burning, snowing, doing something else. I'll always get emails from it. And then I have a really good relationship with a lot of the nurses and doctors and PTs at Craig. And so if they have anyone come in and they even slightly express interest in fitness, I always get a phone call, and we bring them over to the gym while they're inpatient. I show them some of the stuff that I know, some of the stuff that they can do while they're at Craig, and give them some resources outside of Craig for fitness and CrossFit specifically. One of my favorite things to do, we just did a kind of like a little mini seminar for the Wounded Warrior Project for a bunch of disabled vets. And at the end of it, I just pulled up the CrossFit affiliate map, had them give me their area code, and found them all a CrossFit gym back home that they can keep training at. And I've gotten 5-6 messages out of the 15 veterans that were there that they're loving it. They're doing great. They found a gym home with the recommendation I gave them. One of them, he's messaging me once a week, giving me updates on what he's doing down in Florida at CrossFit in Fuego. He's loving it. He said it's one of the coolest things he's done. So, it's really fun to be able to facilitate that. I'll do little conference calls with the gym owner, like an adaptive athlete reached out to me and they're looking for a gym. I'll hop on a call with that athlete and the owners and kind of talk them through how to get this guy started, best practices, things to look for, just so like, I really think people should get the education on adaptive athlete, get their level 1, level 2 if they want to coach adaptive athletes. But I want to get people started. So I'll do little conference calls with them to do like a little mini chat for about an hour on how to get these people started and working. Cause I don't know, man, I don't think there's a better place for people with disabilities than CrossFit gyms. I've talked to thousands of CrossFit gym owners in my role for CrossFit and just being in the CrossFit space. And I don't think any other gym cares as much about their athletes as CrossFit coaches and CrossFit gym owners. And that's where these people need to be. And even the cooler part of it is what I've seen on the mentality side of the adaptive athletes. I mean, I've worked with a ton of adaptive athletes that would literally only go from their home to the grocery store and back home because they didn't want to be out in public around able-bodied people. And what I've seen a lot in my gym and other gyms is like the more they come into the CrossFit gym, the less they see themselves as separate from able-bodied, and the more human they see themselves. And even on the flip side of that, the able-bodied people in my gym, stop seeing them as a disabled person and start seeing the person. And that's the cool stuff to me. Like I've had like a good member of mine, been a member for almost a decade, came up to me one day. He's like, dude, I'm going to get myself in trouble out in public because I'm just around all these adaptive athletes so often that I sometimes forget they're in wheelchairs. I sometimes forget that they're like, it's not the first thing that pops in my head. I think it's not like, oh, there's Kevin in the wheelchair. It's like, there's Kevin, the old grumpy guy, And so like being able to see each other as more human is one of the, secondary benefits of being in a CrossFit gym. Everyone sees themselves as more humans. Everyone gets along better. Like, I don't know. I think it's like this, the CrossFit gym space is a really, like Greg always said, it's a really magical place. Like, it's the community that's important. And I think the mentality changes and the psychological changes are as important, if not more important, than the physical changes we see in there.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, right? Because when you're out in the world, if you stand out and look different than everyone else, that's the first thing that everyone sees, and that's what everyone, whether it's subliminally or explicitly or implicitly, that's what they're projecting onto you.
Yeah.
And then you find this home that's a CrossFit gym, and it's a mixed bag of, it's a crazy diverse group of people, and eventually every person in there is just treating everyone else just like a person. They're making eye contact with you. They're not feeling sorry for you. They're just like, they're not doing the general cliche shit that someone might do to someone who looks different than them.
I mean, I think it's the shared suffering, but like, I'm sure all the gym owners have seen it. Like, you'll have people who are on completely separate sides of political views, world views, religious views, like completely opposite sides of the coin, who are friends inside your CrossFit gym, even though like the world outside the CrossFit gym tells us that we should hate each other and be mean to each other and, bring the other person down. Inside the CrossFit gym, you could have someone who's far left and far right be really close friends inside the gym from that shared suffering.
Right.
I think it's easy. I think it's easier to trust someone and know that they're a good person when you've suffered with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've all experienced that. You work out. The L1's a perfect place for that. You're still on the seminar staff?
I am.
The L1's the perfect place for that. Everyone goes into class the first day. No one talks to everyone. Everyone acts shy and quiet. And then after that first workout, all those people are talking to each other. The old ladies, the young kids, everyone's talking to each other.
Oh, yeah. Automatic best friends. It's crazy.
Yeah. September 12th. Is it do I have that right? September 12th, 13th, and 14th?
That is correct. It's when the first event will kick off, September 12th. So this upcoming Friday.
And this is the CrossFit Games. Will crown the fittest human beings in the world in their specific divisions. And you've been the director of the CrossFit Games, the adaptive CrossFit Games, for how many years?
Well, when they were all in one place and like under CrossFit, I was the assistant for 1 year, and then ran it the next year. And so about 4 years I've been involved in it.
Crazy. Congratulations. And overwhelming. Is it an overwhelming job?
It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Like, we have,
it seems like how many athletes?
We have 200, right around between 260 and 270 adaptive athletes, 16 different categories. And then if you go male and female, so 32 different categories. And each floor layout is different. Each workout each category has their own adapted version of that workout, which requires different floor. So each floor plan's different. Each set of weights or the equipment needed is different for all 16 divisions. I think we have like 28 or 29 heats of athletes, and each heat is completely different.
So whereas the CrossFit Games that happened in Albany, they have age divisions. You have categories. Give me an example of categories.
So we divide up our categories on how their impairment affects power output and where their impairment affects power output. So we'll have like upper 2 point of contact, upper 1 point of contact. So someone that, may have an upper extremity injury, but can still have 2 points of contact on an implement, barbell, rig, whatever it may be, or upper 1 point that can only have 1 point of contact on like a barbell or a rig. We have 3 lower impairment categories. So lower above knee. So like above knee amputations, stuff like that. Lower below knee, which is like below knee amputations. Lower minor, which is anyone like things like some certain forms like drop foot or club foot or anything like that. We have 3 different divisions for neuromuscular injuries. So neuro minor, neuromoderate, neuromajor, and we calculate that on how drastically it affects their ability to produce power. It's all calculated off power. We have a division for vision, so like blind or vision impaired athletes, short stature. 3 different seated division as of now. So we have seated without hip function, seated with hip function, and then seated quad. And seated quad is just 3 or more limbs that are impaired, have impaired power output. We have 2 intellectual divisions with chromosomal condition, without chromosomal condition. We have I'm sure I'm missing one in there. I know we also have standing diagnosed. So that's a division that's fairly new. I think it's only 2 years old, and that's for anyone that has a medical diagnosis, but their impairments are either we're not able to objectively measure them, or they haven't progressed to a point where they affect power output yet. So like that division have people with like MS or something like that, where they could have things like fatigue, problems with temperature regulation. They could have pain, and we can't yet objectively measure how that affects power output to calculate that for the workouts. There's no way to objectively measure.
That's like a catch-all.
A little bit. It's more like, yeah, these people have something going on that affects their ability to work out at full force or full speed. Like there's an impairment there, but like there's no way for me to take your pain level, because pain is subjective, and be like, all right, for upper 2 point, we know that at like 85 to 90% of like loads lifted, we take like 80 to 90% of the loads lifted for like able-bodied that have, no impairment, is about right for the barbell. And about, 75% of that from that 80 to 90% is really good for upper 1 point, because we can calculate what the power output looks like on lifting a barbell for, an impaired 2 points to a 1 point of contact athlete. But there's no way for me to sit there and be like, all right, your pain level is a 7. So that's going to calculate out to a 15% drop in barbell weight, or, a decrease in distance. Like there's no objective, since pain and fatigue.
What about a deaf person, subjective. Kevin?
They right now, because we don't have a ton of them, they are in standing diagnosed.
Okay.
Because they have different things. Like I think people hear, someone's deaf and they think, okay, they just can't hear. But
I like the way you said that. That was cool. People hear someone's deaf. That was good. Okay, go on.
Yeah. And so they're like, oh, they just can't hear. All they need is someone to like do sign language or get their attention on things. And that's not the case. Like a lot of individuals in that specific category also can have balance issues. They can have different issues around that stuff that we need to be aware of when they're working out. And so it's not just like, hey, they can't hear. It's what else is going on with them, but it's still not objective to measure it. So we have them in standing diagnosed until we grow it. And there's a great athlete that's competing this year, Katie Burris, I believe her name is, and she's really spun up and trying to help us grow that division, so we could add like a whole division just for that.
Is she deaf?
Impairment. She is.
Is she does she do podcasts?
I don't know.
Is it CAITY? You know,
KAITI.
Yeah. Right. Do you know how to spell her last name?
I think it's BURRESS, or maybe BURESS, one of the two.
Oh, that would be amazing. I've never had a deaf person on the podcast. How does that work?
I see.
Is it Christy Burris?
No.
Katie Burris.
Katie. Yeah. I don't even know if she's on Instagram. I'm not technologically savvy enough to know all this stuff.
Okay. And then I had a blind athlete on.
Is that Kim?
Kim, yes.
Kim's a longtime like athlete supporter. She has been one of the biggest helps to us developing that vision division. Just her input, her feedback. She does it in a respectful way. She does it personally. She is a phenomenal human and has really helped us. She really is the reason we have a vision division.
Oh, there is a vision division.
There is.
Oh, wow. That's wild. Yeah, that was an intense story. I heard, and she's a mom.
Yep, this is Katie.
Okay, yeah, the deaf PT.
Super smart, super nice lady. had a lot of talks with her last year on how to grow the deaf community inside of CrossFit and how to make it better for them. We have a few sign language interpreters that are going to be with us this weekend to help facilitate them competing. Unfortunately, like right now, we're with the size of the company, what we have, it's only going to be ASL, which stinks because we do have an athlete or two that are international athletes. So ASL isn't their language. And so I would like
what's ASL?
American Sign Language.
Oh, okay. God, dude, you must know so much shit. You must know so many acronyms and technical words, and like
I've learned a lot.
You probably know more about disabilities and disabilities isn't the right word. Just, I don't know if ailments is the right word either. I don't know if that one's better.
Yeah.
Impairments. Yeah, you probably know so much more than you ever thought you'd know. It must be wild.
I'll put it this way. I know what I don't know. And I have a really great team. I have a really great team of, PTs, doctors, ATs, OTs that I consult regularly on this stuff to get expert information on that kind of stuff. Cause like I've studied like biomechanics and I've been in the barbell world for about 30 years, but all these impairments are so nuanced and so specialized and so different from each other that it'd be stupid of me to try to handle it all myself. So I have a great team of specialists and experts in different categories that help me out with this stuff.
How many hours a night are you sleeping in the last 30 days?
I make sure I get 6 to 8. I don't function well off less than that. Like my nerve pain or my spasms go crazy. I got knocked in the head a lot when I was younger. So like my brain stops functioning, and being able to make sound decisions require me to sleep. So I prioritize sleep really hard.
I just picture you in front of a computer answering emails from like 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. every day.
I have help with that too. My wife helps with that a lot. We have a lady on staff, Leslie Manning, who's a absolute monster of a human and a beautiful human. She helps a lot with emails and correspondence, and so does our nice mutual friend Lisa. Lisa helps. Lisa
Gall.
Yeah, Lisa will check my emails before I send them.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mom. It's absolutely wild because I assume if just on average there's 260 athletes, and each of them you have a 4 email correspondence with because they have questions, or will there be parking, or they have questions that I can't even imagine them asking. Mm-hmm. And that shit must get crazy quickly.
It's a lot. We have some really great athletes who figure things out, and luckily it's still like a nice little small community. So once we answer one of them, those people usually disseminate that out to the other athletes that have those questions, and so they help us out there quite a bit. The community talks quite a bit, so it's a lot, but it's necessary. So I'm happy to do it.
September 12th, 13th, 14th. And where's the location? It's
at the Westgate Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, wow. And that can the adaptive games find a home? Like, why don't you just do it at your gym every year? Just so it's just like, hey, you're there.
My gym's not nearly like we have about 34,000 square feet to put on the games this year.
Oh, my goodness.
I would like to get up to 40, and my gym is not even close to that. We got a great opportunity this year to work alongside. So it's literally a 2-week basically fitness festival that we're a part of. So there's USA Masters weightlifting World Championships. There is a regional USPA powerlifting event. There's Masters strongman that's going on while we're here. There's adaptive weightlifting. There's adaptive powerlifting, or some adaptive athletes competing in powerlifting alongside of us. So like the event actually started this past Thursday, and they've been running weightlifting and strongman and powerlifting while we're getting set up. And then we close out the 2 weeks with the adaptive CrossFit games.
Wow, that's cool. Congratulations. Open to the public?
You can buy tickets. You can, if you go to wheelwad.com, you can get tickets to, they're kind of separated, but together. So if you want to go to the Adaptive CrossFit Games, you can buy a ticket to that. If you want to go see like the strongman or the masters weightlifting, you can buy a ticket to that, but it's not super expensive.
You and Shannon, have this gym. By the way, here's the website, wheelwad.com, Las Vegas. Will be air conditioned in there.
Yes.
I just made that up, but it's got to be.
It is.
So you and Shannon have this gym, CrossFit Watchtower, and I'm guessing it has become sort of this hub and known as sort of a brainchild for adaptive athletes.
Yeah, maybe. I try not to make it I don't want it to be an adaptive gym. I want it to be a CrossFit gym. I don't run specialty classes for adaptive athletes. I want it to be, one community, one class, like you're working out alongside any impairment or no impairments, older people, younger people. I think our age range is like 18 or like 14 to, I think our oldest member is like in his 60s, maybe close to 70, from completely able-bodied to impairments. We have some, quadriplegics in the gym. We have some pretty severe TBIs that come into the gym. Some, across the board. I don't want it to be like, hey, here's this adaptive gym. It's not. It's a CrossFit gym, but CrossFit is infinitely scalable and adaptable. So it's a CrossFit gym where we just have the capacity to work with anyone.
And do you have any sister gyms? Do you have any gyms that are like also acutely aware of the need for that community?
There's a ton. I mean, there's a lot of them now.
Like someone calls and they're like, hey, my kid just was injured. He's 22 years old. I want to send him to your gym. And you're like, hey, you don't have to. You're in Louisiana. Yeah, no problem. There's a great one in New Orleans.
Yeah. I can usually find one or two wherever they're at. The ones I'm aware of, are all over the place. Like Chris Downberg, who's one of the co-owners of Wheelwad, he owns a gym with Jen Nickel up in Collingwood, Canada. They're a great place. Like Stouty is the driving force behind all this adaptive stuff. He's probably the best at it, and he has a great gym up there. CrossFit Brave over in North Carolina, David Needham, the owner, works with us at Wheelwad. That's another great. There's a bunch of gyms across the U.S. that can do a lot of this stuff, but I think I've always said it, and I truly believe it. If you have your level 1, your level 2, you have everything you need to start working with adaptive athletes. So I'm really not worried about where you're at. I will find a CrossFit gym near you, or you can find a CrossFit gym near you, and they'll be able to work with you. Like it's the way we teach coaching and training within CrossFit, I believe to be universal. And so while it's nice to have some extra information on what the impairments are, special things to think about to keep them safe, happy, and healthy is great, you can start without it. Because the way we teach looking at movement through points of performance, mechanics, consistency, and only then intensity is universal across any impairment for any human that's on the face of the earth.
Like I said, September 12th, 13th, and 14th. And this is Shannon is Cornerstone Foundation also. Shannon and Kevin Ogar.
Yeah, we would not be able to run this without Shannon. She is the director of competition. She helps with all this stuff. She keeps me on track. She keeps notes. Like if there's something that needs to be done, if I need to do it, she's probably the one reminding me that I need to do it, or keeping me on the track of things. But she also helps me with writing all the standards, going over the workouts, floor plans, quick start guides, all that stuff. And she also helps us manage the judges team.
And you guys have a podcast, or at least a sit-down show on Wheelwad on YouTube. And I was listening to one of your more recent ones, and you were talking about stuff that I thought was so fucking brilliant. I sent it to at least 15 of my friends. I was like, holy shit, this guy should be running the WFP. And this weekend, the U.S. Open is on, and we went to ESPN yesterday to see if what events were on, and ESPN had, 10 tabs to hit for, different courts. And every tab my boys and I clicked, it was wheelchair tennis.
Yeah.
And
Wheelchair tennis is big.
And it's a nuts game, by the way. I know normally a lot of people might just click past that. If you have a chance to watch high level tennis of people in wheelchairs, it is absolutely wild. The skill level is insane. And there's so many nuances to look at, like how do they do backhands? Why are they always moving? And the more and more, because they're always like moving right around the court. They like almost never stand still, and they're spinning. Have you watched it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's
impressive.
Oh my God, it's nuts. And the wheelchairs are technical feats of engineering, and they got a double. You can let it bounce twice. It's wild. And they hit hard with just being able to use their bodies. But you said something in this podcast that I thought was so important about how you guys were exploring the idea of how to bring this to market. And market meaning the way the market works is you find a place where people eat apples, and then you bring apples to the market, and then people buy them. You bring them a service that you're providing a service, and you're exploring with Shannon about how do we bring the adaptive games to market. So it's not a charity event. It's not a maybe charity event wasn't the word you used. I don't remember, but you're basically like, how can we make this so that it's its own thing outside of some sort of what the word I'm looking for is. It's not the Special Olympics. These are people who've given their life to super high athleticism. It's not and I have no issue with the Special Olympics. I think it's a great organization. It's great to get people outside, great to introduce people to things, but this is like high level fucking competition, and you want to bring it.
It's not a sideshow. It's not a pity party.
Yeah. There's some crazy, obviously impressive feats there. Tennis, tennis obviously has the support of, billions of dollars, right? I mean, or at least hundreds of millions. I mean, they sell tennis balls. The market on that must be just insane in itself. Any thoughts on how that can happen? Is it just getting attention? Is it just getting eyeballs and letting it take its course organically, or are there issues you can force?
I think part of it is getting eyes on for sure. Like, if no one sees your apples, no one's going to buy the apples.
Right.
Right. And so I think part of it is getting eyes on. I also think part of it is on the athletes, like to get someone to invest, there has to be an ROI. There has to be a return on that investment. It's like any other athlete. Like if you want sponsorships, you have to show that sponsor why they should sponsor you. What are they getting out of the relationship? It's not one-sided. And so a lot of it is on the athletes. And, my big thing and what we've been trying to do with the adaptive games and with just adaptive training in general is get a lot of these individuals, these athletes, to realize that like no one owes you anything. You don't, just because you train hard, you don't deserve to have sponsorships. You have to market yourself. You have to become your own brand, and you have to show these companies like, hey, if you sponsor me, your return on investment is X. Here's what I can bring to the table. Here's what I can provide for your company. And that's how you get those sponsorships. It's not just like, hey, I'm a great athlete who can do these cool things. I deserve to have you sponsor me. It's like, no, like your sales will increase by X much. Your eyes on your company will increase by X much. The message you're trying to send through your company is embodied in me. Let me shoot that message out to people and have this big following and grow. There has to be growth together. It can't be one-sided. Like they can't help you grow and you not help them grow, and vice versa. I mean, I think there's also the vice versa. There's some companies out there that will take advantage of these adaptive athletes and get them into these contracts that are really bad for the athlete, but really good for the company. And so I think it goes both ways. You have to look for these opportunities for mutual growth within the company and as an individual. And so part of that is, our part of that is, as the people who are running the adaptive games, is to get more eyes on these athletes. But the other side of it is these athletes need to cultivate a brand or build themselves up to where companies see that it's valuable for them to sponsor them. And I honestly think that starts in the affiliate. I mean, you were around back in the day, like the Sea of Green, CrossFit Invictus.
Right.
Any Invictus athlete had a freaking wall of green shirts. And it wasn't because they just love that person as an athlete is because they're part of the community. You know, I grew up in St. Louis. I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan, not because I love any one particular athlete, but because they're part of my community. And so I think one of the biggest things that adaptive athletes could do is get into, if they want to be a professional athlete, if they want to turn this into a professional thing, if they want to help grow the sport, is get into affiliates, get into CrossFit affiliates, become friends with these people, be part of their community. And so then when you come to the games, you have a whole community behind you supporting you. Like we have a lot of athletes this year who are able to come to the games because they're part of a community, and that community rallied around them, whether it's be buying t-shirts, doing fundraisers, whatever it is to help these athletes afford to be able to do this. And when companies see that it's not just you and then random people in the world, but you and a community backing you, that's a pretty big return on investment for these companies. They have a whole community that will now support their company because that community supports this athlete. And so I think it starts much like I think most things start. It starts in the affiliate.
I like that, Grassroots. You know, I was thinking of cool things also, and I know it's much easier than said, but you could show, let's say, a one-armed athlete in a commercial, right? He could make a spec commercial, and it could be 30 seconds long, and it could be him talking and showing his beautiful body or her beautiful body. Everyone loves beautiful bodies, and shows them like, you know, first I fuel up, then I work out, and it shows all these things. And maybe you don't even know they have one arm, and they go, and as you know, my body is the most important to me, especially this hand. And then it pulls out, and you see they're fucking missing an arm, and then it's a commercial for some salve. I only use blah 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 on my hand to protect my hand. Well, you know what I mean? There's like tons of ways to take advantage of their challenges, and then, you know, lure people in, and then be like, hey, if I only have one hand and I'm using this salve, you sure as fuck better be using it. Well, you know, giving yourself some sort of authority in the space. There's probably tons of fun things to do like that.
There's a ton, but I think everyone always says sex sells. But what I actually think sells more than that is mentality and motivation sells.
Yeah.
You know, no one looks at,
put the two together.
Yeah, you know, when you look at people who are growing up and they're like, I want to play basketball in the NBA.
Yeah,
you know, I was watching Michael Jordan when I was a kid, and now I want to play in the NBA. It's not because he's a super sexy guy. It's because they saw his mentality, they saw his drive, they were motivated by what he accomplished, even with some of the struggles that he may have had. And I think that is where the adaptive community can really tap in and build their own brand. It's like, it's the mentality of being able to do hard things, even when things are put in your way. And I think, honestly, that's a lot of what people need these days is like, yeah, shit's hard. The world's hard. Everything's hard. Everyone's going to have a hard time. It just depends on what kind of hard you're dealing with. But if we can take and show these amazing athletes who have truly been through some traumatic and hard things in their life, and show their mentality on how they got through it, how they continue to not only survive, but thrive through it, I think that sells more than just someone in a bikini, especially if it was me in a bikini. That wouldn't sell anything.
And you could have the best of both worlds too. I'm trying to remember who the guy in Florida is with one arm. His body's absolutely beautiful, and yet he's as fierce as they get. Or I have coming on the show, I think he's working for you this year and not doing the games. Is it Mike Egan?
Mike Egan, yeah, he's helping us out with some media stuff, and yeah, great dude. Like he's a great example.
Insane body and also insanely motivated and beautiful face. I mean, he got all this shit going.
His arms are smaller than mine, but that's fine.
His arms are crazy. All right, September 12th, 13th, 14th. Are you expect what do you expect there this year? Do you expect it to be better than ever because of all the other events you're mixing with?
More it's going to be great. I mean, I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be huge. My team's putting in a lot of work to make this the best.
When you say it's going to be huge, will you use a Trump accent?
I don't even know if I can do one. I've never practiced that accent, but yeah, it's going to be awesome. We have 2 competition floors. You can get to our live stream either through our website or on our YouTube, WheelWad YouTube.
Okay.
We'll have a live stream on there. We'll have both floors that you can watch. So we'll have 2 floors going at a time.
Do you have who do you have coming out this year? Do you have anyone I know coming out to commentate? Are Bill or Chase coming out? I thought I heard one of them was.
Bill and Rookie are coming out.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then Mike Egan's going to help with some stuff on that. But, Bill and Rookie have been longtime supporters of ours. And, I've known both of them for a long time, and they're both great. They're great at what they do. They're very, I don't know, like consummate professionals. Like they want to know everything about the athlete, how to pronounce their names, how to do all this stuff. They want to know about the impairments so they get it right. Like they put in a lot of hard work to make sure that it is not only the first year they worked with us, I told them I want it to be fun, but I also want it to be educational. Like kind of like the old, what we do at the level 1, entertain and educate. Like that's what we're there for. That's what they're there for. And they do a great job. The athletes love them. And so they're going to be coming out to help with that. Mike Egan will be on camera a few times to chat about things. We may have some other people pop on to give their perspective on different adaptive things. I'm trying to stay off the live stream. I want to be behind the cameras. And my goal this year is that you shouldn't see me on the live stream. You may see me on the live stream, but my goal is to not be on the live stream.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you for coming on. We have Kill Taylor in 15 minutes, so I got to make another cup of coffee. September 12th, 13th, 14th, Kevin Ogar. His first workout in 2007, 21:15.9 handstand push-ups and L sit-ups.
L pull-ups.
L sit-ups.
At 245 pounds, I put a hole in the wall.
His first workout, 2007, 21:15.9 handstand push-ups and L pull-ups. I don't know why I'm correcting it. All right. Second workout was Murph. Hey, thanks for coming on. You're the man. Thanks for everything you do.
Appreciate you,
we're lucky to have you, man.
I appreciate all the support you've given the adaptive community, and it's been great. You've helped us out, and I think, like you said, getting eyes on, and you've helped is big for our sport and our community, and you've helped a lot with that. So I appreciate you.
Yep, anytime, brother. All right, say hi to everyone on the team. Say hi to Shannon. Tell her. By the way, one of the best Instagram accounts on Instagram, if you don't follow, the Walking Ogar, Shannon Ogar. Make sure you follow that account. One of the best. All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir.
Ciao.
Bye.
What a stud. Kevin Ogar. They throw the term around OG very loosely. You don't have to throw it around loosely when you talk to that guy. Been around forever. Massive contributor, level 3 coach, seminar staff, affiliate owner, director of the CrossFit Games. I will see you guys in 12 minutes, $1,000. I need to go in the dictionary and learn some new bad words and insults before I come back on. Try some new stuff on the show. Lisa, good morning. Anytime. Love you guys. Easy day. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.